Welcome to StoryNews English. Today, we dive into the headline, Middle East on fire, Israel strikes Yemen, after the Houthis unleash a deadly new missile. Have you ever wondered how a single missile can ignite an international crisis in the blink of an eye? Just this weekend, a new and dangerous chapter opened in the Middle East. For the first time, the Houthis in Yemen launched a ballistic missile toward Israel, equipped with a cluster bomb warhead. This weapon, designed to scatter multiple explosives across a wide area, marks a dramatic escalation. The strike sent fragments crashing down in central Israel, sparking alarms and raising chilling questions. What happens when an already fragile region is pulled even tighter into the spiral of conflict? And how do ordinary people, families, children, workers fit into this unfolding drama? Tonight, we dive into the story, the attack, Israel's retaliation, and the global consequences. What began as a single launch is now echoing across the region, leaving the world on edge. Late Friday, the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen fired a ballistic missile carrying a cluster munition toward Israel. According to Israeli officials, this was the first time such a weapon had been used against the country. Israel's missile defense system engaged, and while the warhead broke apart, fragments landed in central Israel. Remarkably, there were no casualties, but the symbolism was powerful. In swift response, the Israeli Air Force launched a major counterstrike early Sunday, the 24th of August, targeting multiple sites in Yemen's capital, Sanaa. Airstrikes struck a military compound near the presidential palace, two power plants in Asar and Hizaz, and a large fuel depot. The explosions lit up the night sky, sending shockwaves through the city. Houthi officials confirmed at least 6 people were killed and 86 wounded, many of them civilians. The strikes underscored Israel's reach, demonstrating it could project force far beyond its borders. The climax came as residents of Sanaa woke to the sound of warplanes and thunderous blasts. Windows shattered across neighborhoods, homes trembled, and fire plumes rose into the sky. For ordinary Yemenis, already battered by years of conflict and shortages, the strikes deepened fear and despair. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared, "Whoever attacks us, we will attack him." The entire region is learning Israel's strength and determination. Defense officials emphasized that the operation targeted military infrastructure used by the Houthis to launch attacks. The Houthis, however, stood defiant. Their leaders vowed to continue supporting Palestinians and resisting what they called foreign aggression. "We will not stop," declared a senior Houthi spokesperson, linking their campaign to solidarity with Gaza. Across social media, their supporters framed the strike as proof of their importance in the regional struggle. Meanwhile, ordinary Yemenis were left asking whether their suffering was being traded for symbolism. The immediate civilian toll is tragic. 6 lives lost, nearly 90 people wounded, hospitals overwhelmed. But beyond the casualties, the ripple effects are equally alarming. 2 power plants struck in the attack had supplied electricity to large sections of Sanaa. Their destruction plunges neighborhoods into darkness, disrupting water systems that rely on pumps, cutting off refrigeration for medicines, and leaving families uncertain about when light will return. The fuel depot, now a smoldering ruin, represents another blow. Yemen already struggles with fuel scarcity, and the loss of stored reserves means prices will surge. Transportation, food delivery, and humanitarian aid operations will face new obstacles. For a country long considered the site of the world's worst humanitarian crisis, the timing could not be worse. Politically, the attack sharpens divides. Israel has demonstrated its strategic reach, sending a message to Tehran as much as to Sanaa. The Houthis, aligned with Iran, see the confrontation as validation of their central role in the resistance axis. Yet Yemen, already fractured by years of civil war, risks sliding deeper into isolation. The more the Houthis attack Israel, the less space remains for diplomacy or reconstruction at home. Regionally, shipping routes through the Red Sea and Bab el-Mandeb Strait may once again face disruption. These waterways are lifelines for global trade, carrying energy supplies and goods between Asia and Europe. Each escalation by the Houthis raises fears of wider conflict spilling into maritime channels, with consequences that touch every economy dependent on stable shipping. In short, the strikes do not end with explosions. They unravel fragile systems of survival, governance, and commerce. Globally, reactions are mixed but deeply concerned. Israel's message is clear: long-range missile threats will not go unanswered. By striking deep inside Yemen, Israel underscores its willingness to hit back anywhere, projecting deterrence not just to the Houthis but to Iran, Hezbollah, and other regional actors. The United States and several Western allies are likely to back Israel's right to self-defense, yet behind the statements of support lie quiet worries. How long can escalation continue before miscalculation drags the region into a wider war? With conflicts already raging in Gaza and Lebanon, the extension into Yemen risks stretching the Middle East's fragile stability beyond its limits. Humanitarian organizations and United Nations agencies will highlight the suffering in Sanaa. Yemen, already devastated by civil war, famine, and poverty, now faces renewed bombardment. Calls for restraint emphasize that military infrastructure is often embedded within civilian spaces, making it nearly impossible to strike without human cost. Iran, for its part, will likely use the moment to showcase its regional network. The Houthis' ability to strike Israel nearly 1,800 kilometers away is a signal of Tehran's influence. Gulf states, meanwhile, tread a fine line, sharing concerns over Iran's proxies but wary of broader destabilization that threatens their economies. And what about the rest of the world? Shipping insurers, traders, and investors are watching closely. Every missile and every retaliatory strike reverberates across global energy markets and consumer prices. This brings us to a pressing question. In a conflict where missiles cross continents and fuel depots ignite, what role does diplomacy still play? Can global powers step in to de-escalate? Or is the region locked on a path toward greater fragmentation? The answer may shape not only Middle Eastern politics, but also the stability of international trade. In a matter of days, a missile launched from Yemen rippled far beyond its origin. The Houthis' use of a cluster munition against Israel marked a dangerous escalation, and Israel's retaliatory strikes on Sanaa reinforced a chilling truth. In today's conflicts, no border is too distant, and no city too far. What starts as a single launch can end with blackouts in hospitals, shattered neighborhoods, and fears of war stretching across seas. The story of Israel and the Houthis is not only about military might. It is about the lives of civilians caught in the middle and the questions we must ask ourselves. Can diplomacy still hold against the sound of warplanes? Or are we allowing history to repeat its darkest patterns? Thank you for watching the video. I wish you good health, happiness, and prosperity.